Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the iPad Pro 12.9-inch Digitizer and LCD removal plus reinstallation guide. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and use a heat gun and heat up the front of the screen. I am actually going to be speeding this up significantly because it took about 15 minutes to remove the screen. You can expect it to take about 15 to 20 minutes for yourself as well, just depending on how cracked up your glass is. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, and you'll see how I kind of heat up the adhesive to loosen it up just so that we can remove the front glass. So once you have that little bit of separation, go ahead and use like a pry tool and some playing cards. We sell the pry tools on our website. Playing cards we don't, but you can get them kind of anywhere. So you'll just want to kind of dig in there and separate the glass from the back of the housing. Now some shards of glass might kind of just get stuck in there. You're going to have to remove those a little bit later. I don't really focus on trying to take them off as they're breaking, but you can do kind of whatever you want to do there. Just continue to add more and more heat to it. If you have a heating mat, you can use that as well. Honestly, for the iPad Pro 12.9, there's not really many heating mats that can cover the entire screen itself. So we kind of just prefer to use a actual heat gun and go all along it. As you're going, you can use a can of air to remove whatever glass is there. As you saw, we kind of use that can of air. It's actually a air compressor machine, but you're just going to keep on going down and keep on using your playing cards to kind of like leave a separation so that it doesn't readhere, because it can kind of readhere. Obviously not as much as the original was, but it'll still readhere and kind of give you a hard time. So sometimes you just want to use your playing cards to keep that separation in those specific spots. So I did check, we actually have this on 5 times speed. It took us roughly 12 minutes or so to actually get this glass off. So obviously I do want to say you want to give yourself a little bit of time here. Don't expect it to just come off. It will take 10, 15, 20, and I mean, if you've never done it before, maybe even 30 minutes to get it off. So yeah, once you get it off and once you're close, you got to know that there is a flex cable attached to the back of your assembly here. So obviously don't just rip it off because it's still connected to your actual motherboard. Alright, so we're almost at that point. Getting the bottom loosened up right now. And once you have the bottom loosened up, you're going to see us take this back to normal speed to show you kind of how to check everything here. Alright, we're back to normal speed right now. And you're going to see that board. The flex cables are still connected to the motherboard. There are some 00 size Phillips screws in here. You're going to want to go ahead and remove them. Make sure to put them back in the order that you removed them. You don't want to put them back or out of order. You always want to get the right screws back in the right places. I'm speeding this up just a little bit. There's a little bracket once you get the screws off. You want to go ahead and put that bracket to the side, and then you can go ahead and disconnect the flex cables in the very next step of the video. Alright, so here we're just going to go ahead and disconnect these 2 flex cables. You can use a pry tool or your fingers. They're big enough that I just went ahead and used my fingers. And in the next step, I will show you guys the differences between the 2 types of assemblies. Alright, so what you see right here is actually an assembly with the Daughterboard pre-installed. You want to transfer over your home button from the old assembly, a couple of these gaskets obviously, and the tape covering all this stuff. I always recommend transferring over whatever you see on the original, transfer it over to the new one. Once again, please note the assembly we use right here on the right hand side already has the Daughterboard pre-installed. You can pretty much only find that at injuredgadgets.com. Not many people carry it with the Daughterboard, otherwise you're going to need to know how to solder, and you're going to have to solder off the Daughterboard from the old assembly to the new one. Alright, so here I am. I've gone ahead and transferred over the home button, the gaskets. I've put adhesive down on the back of the assembly, so you should obviously do that. We use 2 different types of adhesive. We use red tape adhesive as well as our Tessa tape roll. You want to put it up on the sides, the top, the bottom. That's one of our 12 millimeter red tapes. And then we also used a very thin 2 millimeter Tessa tape down the sides of the assembly. What you're going to see me doing in a couple of seconds here is removing the Tessa tape off the sides. and then we're going to go ahead and get to reassembling the assembly. Alright, so I am speeding this up 5 speed just to get the repair done a little quicker. That way you guys don't have to watch this forever, obviously. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove make sure you've got all the remnant glass on the sides removed if you didn't see any, or if you missed some. We're going to go ahead and plug the digitizer connection back in the LCD connection. Then we're going to go ahead and put the bracket over it and obviously put the 00 Phillips screws back on top. And it's so straightforward, honestly. After that you just kind of like lay it down, make sure that you have laid it down perfectly. If one of your corners is edged and mashed in from a drop, you want to bend that out because obviously your glass won't lay flat if one of your corners is mashed in. But my corners were fine, and so I'm going to just press it down, make sure all the corners are nice and tight, and that there are no gaps. Obviously it might take a couple of moves up and down, left and right, just to get that perfectly seated. And it did take me a couple of tries, obviously, because the adhesive kind of holds it down, so you want to just keep on moving it to get that adhesive in the exact spot that it's supposed to be, as well as the assembly. Alright, once you have that situated, go ahead and turn on the power button. Obviously at this point you're hoping that your iPad starts up perfectly fine. You want to make sure, once again, that there's no gaps on any of the sides, top or bottom, and that it's perfectly situated. And once it boots up, you want to go ahead and just test out your iPad, test out the touch and everything, make sure it's working, and your iPad Pro should be repaired at this point. And obviously ours works here. Check the home button, make sure that clicks, and if everything's working, you have successfully completed your iPad Pro 12.9 repair. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, you can buy all the tools as well as the parts at injuredgadgets.com. Check out the links below. Thanks.